Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of LMU Roundtable Now, at the movies. We're very excited for a few reasons. It's going to be kind of a different show this week. First of all, it's our first half-hour episode. And second of all, we're very excited to be broadcasting from the Von der Aa Communication Arts or Film Building. We're really excited because this is the hub of many of the great future filmmakers who call LMU home. As many of you know, there's a lot of great talents here at the school, and you might want to hit record on your VCRs for this episode because you might be seeing some of these filmmakers' names in lights. Now, there's one element of the show that is the same this week. It's our panelist. He's a business finance major with a minor in guitar, and his name is John Thomas Landon. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm excited to be here with our extended time slot and content.
Now, there's been a lot of interesting trends recently in the movies. What do you think about movies and trends?
Well, I think that if you look back on film history, there's quite a lot of it. I think starting as far back as 100 years ago, and looking back at it is a lot of interesting things, like when sound and color was introduced. And I think nowadays you'll see a new trend which is equally as important in the film school.
Now, JT, I wanted to know, everybody has different tastes about movies. What kind of movies do you like to go see at the movie theater?
Well, when I have the opportunity to go, when I'm not on the streets tracking down scoops and hot leads, I like to go into theaters and see action films, mostly because there's a lot of similar sorts of things between my life and action films. Not that I'm an action star or anything, but I do walk the streets, and oftentimes in action films you'll see people on the streets, and you see lots of people seeing those people walking on those streets. And it sort of relates to my life in that I see people when I walk the streets.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to call it my favorite type of movie, but I do have a certain appreciation for romance movies. When I'm back at home with my girlfriend Cheyenne, she ends up taking me to a lot of movies that I'm not necessarily that excited about,
Right.
But I do end up enjoying them. I think that Hugh Grant and Colin Firth both have, some really great comedic timing, and sometimes I'm worried that one of them is going to take my girlfriend away, but I'm not that worried because they're just on the silver screen.
They're giant movie stars, and most likely Cheyenne will never meet them, so you don't have much to worry about, I don't think.
I hope not. All right, well, it's time to get into the first movie of the night. This is a film that was made by a friend of the show. You might remember her from our second episode. Her name is Ayana Peters, and the film is called When the Bough Breaks.
Before we play it, though, for those of you who have a low tolerance for blood or pain or abuse, maybe you should beware of the next movie because it is very mature and adult content.
All right, well, take that warning in mind and let's take a look. Wow, wow. Well, that was a very moving film, as you guys saw, and now we're here with the maker of the film, an old friend of the show. Her name is Ayana Peters. Welcome to the show, Ayana.
Hi, I'm glad to be back.
Well, I think it goes without saying that we were very deeply touched by your film.
I think it's a really important film, a really important piece that really needs to be seen by as many people as possible.
It was very nice that you didn't cut away. I know a lot of films that I've seen that have very graphic matter will let you on by the sound design, for instance. But here, it was very clear what was happening.
I know some of the stuff may be hard to see and hard to look at, but it's important. It's nature. It's real, and this stuff happens every day.
But I'm really curious, did you have to cast somebody who was actually pregnant and then film it over a 9-month period?
You know, I've been asked that a lot, but you know, it's movie magic. It really enhances the realism of the explosiveness of the birth and of the death and of the rape. I mean, life is explosive or sometimes fluid.
So that wasn't real water?
It was actually apple juice. I later decided to make the film black and white because I thought that really enhanced visually the visual look of the film.
Sometimes when you take away, you really give back.
That's true. That's one of the first things that I learned at this film school.
Very cool. Now, we talked about the really cool visuals in your film, but you know, there was some really powerful music in the film too that really added to the mood.
It tells you exactly how to feel. I welled up at the end there.
No, I did too, every time.
At times those drums, there's got to be more than a couple, maybe a dozen drums all at the same time, and it's like it's so powerful. It's like 12 drummers right on my shoulder, both of my shoulders, because it's in stereo.
As the rape is happening, it's almost like the 12 drummers are raping you.
It's like 1,000 heartbeats for every 1,000 rapes just welled up in your chest.
One thing about the movie that was not that clear to me was the title, When the Bough Breaks.
The title is taken from the very old nursery rhyme, you know, rock-a-bye baby in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. And down will come baby, cradle and all. Now
that you say that poem, I can definitely think back to those times when the boughs were shaking really hard.
You know, in this phallocentric society, the boughs, the phallus is shaking and beating and commanding, you know, women to do its bidding.
Kind of listening to the words that you're speaking just then kind of reminds me to a very different sort of film, but maybe a similar. Star Wars Episode 3, for instance, had Anakin Skywalker, who you think is a good guy, and I think he wants to be a good guy. But then you have the Sidious, kind of like the phallic bows, right? And eventually he kills Padme.
I wasn't personally affected by Star Wars, but I'm glad that you were able to draw that connection.
I like both the films a lot.
Now, I was wondering what directors, if not George Lucas, are the kind of people who've inspired you to make your films?
I started my visual poetry by looking at real poetry, and so my first main collaboratress, if you will, was Sylvia Plath. Her poetry, you know, has touched me for years. Other include Virginia Woolf and the photography of Diane Arbus. Not only are those women, you know, really influenced me in my art, but also the people that I meet over my my travels throughout the world. I've gone on several study abroad trips, and all over the world, women are the same. They're experiencing that same pain and explosiveness of life and death.
Is it true that women end up, when they're in very close quarters, like in a village, that they end up on the same menstrual cycles?
It is true. Often, women who are very close find themselves cycling together. It's truly an amazing experience, because then all the women go into the menstruation hut where they are shunned for a week, not allowed to handle food for the men. But it's fun. It's like a party because all your friends are there, and you don't have to worry about the phalluses that surround you.
Now, in the way that women's menstrual cycles all converge, do you think that your style of filmmaking and the messages that you have to portray are converging in a similar way to female filmmakers who are out there in the world?
Yes, I believe so. I believe I am in solidarity with all women, and all of my films and all of my art is just pushing towards the final sacred release of ultimate femininity.
Great. When can we be expecting that you'll achieve this?
Very soon, I hope. I'm working on another project. It is really exciting. I am actually going out of the country for it. I can't tell you where, though. It's very top secret.
I really look forward to it, for one.
Thanks. I hope I can touch you the same way I touched you with this one.
I was really touched, so next film we'll have to touch harder, because I got touched a lot.
I'd like that.
Great. Well, Ayana, thanks a lot for being on the show.
It was my pleasure. I sincerely enjoyed it.